Hi, and welcome to the 613 Laws of God podcast. Each episode, I'll look at a few of the laws that can be found in the Torah or the Old Testament. I'm Brother James, and my focus will be on how many of these laws a modern person can practically follow. I will use my-MON-i-deez lists sorted by occurrence in the Torah, and while many are temple-specific rules, I think it would be good to review them nonetheless, primarily so I will give a full reading of the law. So let's jump right in. I am counting backwards like Casey Kasem towards the number one rule as it occurs in the scriptures, and it's not what you might guess. Number 613, Deuteronomy 32:38 as a reference, is not to drink wine poured in the service of idols. Okay, this one is easy to avoid. This should be a breeze. Communion wine, you might say. In my church, it was grape juice, so I'm okay. Rule 612, Deuteronomy 31:19. Each male must write a Torah scroll. Now, I researched this, and it would take approximately 1.5 years to complete this task if you could write Hebrew. Written entirely in Hebrew, a Torah scroll contains 304,805 letters, all of which must be duplicated precisely by a trained scribe. So there would be a steep learning curve even before setting to work on the scroll. I'll file this under next to impossible. Number 611, Deuteronomy 31:12. To assemble all the people on the Sukkot following the 7th year. Now, Sukkot is a Jewish holiday which is about giving thanks for the autumn harvest and commemorating the 40 years Israel spent wandering the desert after leaving slavery in Egypt. So it's mid-September, let's say the equinox around the 21st, and all the people. The verse says, assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the foreigners residing in your towns, so they can listen and learn to fear the Lord your God and follow carefully all the words of his law. Now, my town has about 1 million people, and even if I just did my block determining who the foreigners are would be tricky. And to listen to all the words, the people would have to sit there for days. So this is impossible in a modern context. Law number 610, Deuteronomy 28:9. Seems like a lot of these laws are found in Deuteronomy so far. Of course, the laws are laid out in order of occurrence, so it's perhaps because Deuteronomy is one of the last books. To emulate his ways. So number 610, Deuteronomy 28:9, to emulate his ways. So what the verse says is, if you obey the commands of the Lord your God and walk in his ways, the Lord will establish you as his holy people, as he swore he would do. So this is a contract between God and the Hebrews, and I can't honestly say if all 613 commands had been issued at this point, or if they were still incoming, as it were. But as with us, the gathered ancient villagers would need to know what these commands were, so they would have to sit in a sukkot to hear them once a year, I guess, in the fall. So we are only a few rules in, and I can already see that I wouldn't be able to keep up my end of the contract. Number 609, Deuteronomy 22:26. The court must not punish anybody who was forced to do a crime. And under the Civil Criminal Code, which I live, Article 34:1, a person is not guilty of an offense if they're forced to do a crime. So this one's solid. We can do this one. Number 608, Deuteronomy 26:14. A mourner on the first day after death must not eat the ma'aser shenai, and the ma'aser shenai is temple food made of different grains and such. And the Romans wiped out the second temple in AD 70, so it's not even possible, if it were possible. 607, Deuteronomy 26:14, not to eat the mahersher-sheni while impure. So I think if you just stay away from the mahersher-sheni, you should be okay. 606, Deuteronomy 26:14, not to spend redemption money on anything but food, drink, or ointment. So don't spend your redemption money on anything but food, drink, or ointment. Ointment being a smooth, oily preparation that is rubbed in the skin for medicinal purposes or as a cosmetic. He rubbed some ointment on his leg. So if you come into redemption money, stick to the big three: food, drink, and ointment. Number 605, Deuteronomy 26:13, to read the confession of tithes every 4th and 7th year. This was a temple tax tithing thing, and now as mentioned, there are no more temples, or that temple doesn't exist. But if you want my liberal exegesis, I think this could apply to any tax, which is the modern secular tithe. And this is saying do your taxes and do your tax returns regularly and correctly. So I think most good citizens do that. 604, Deuteronomy 26:5, to read the Torah portion pertaining to their presentation. And what 26:5 reads is, then you shall declare before the Lord your God, my father was a wandering Aramean, and he went down into Egypt with a few people and lived there and became a great nation, powerful and numerous. There you go, done. I think we're good for 604. 603, Deuteronomy 25:19, not to forget Amalek's atrocities and ambush on our journey from Egypt into the desert. So I guess Amalek ambushed the Hebrews when they were making their way from Egypt through the desert. So I turn to the source we all turn to when we forget things, which is Wikipedia, because I have forgotten Amalek. Although Egyptian and Assyrian monumental inscriptions and records of the period survive, which lists several tribes and peoples of the area, no reference has ever been found to Amalek or the Amalekites. Therefore, the archaeologist and historian Hugo Winkler suggested in 1895 that there were never any such people, and the biblical stories concerning them are entirely mythological and ahistorical. While considerable knowledge about nomadic Arabs has been recovered through archaeological research, no specific artifacts or sites have been linked to Amalek with any certainty. However, it's possible that some of the fortified settlements in the Negev highlands and even Tel Massos have Amalek connections. And number 602 is wipe out the memory of Amalek. Number 602 is wipe out the memory of Amalek. I'll try to forget what I just read. I mean, if I do another one of these, I have 603 to go, so goodbye, whatever your name is. All right, Sin Yasu.